Hello, my dear friends. Today we are going to continue and we are going to design GUI in our Java. So here we are in Eclipse environment and we will just create a new Java project and let's name it appropriately CAPTCHA. So we have named this CAPTCHA generator and let's create, we don't need any modules. Okay, so we have generated this and in our CAPTCHA generator, let's add a new class. Let's call it capture generator. So in while naming the classes, we can't have any spaces. We can name the project with spaces, but we can't name the classes with the spaces. And we also need to add the main method here. This is going to be our main class. So in our capture generator class, first of all, let's add some constructor. So in our capture generator class, we have just written an empty constructor, and to launch this, we would just need to call this capture generator. Okay. So in order for our Java-based GUI applications to work, we need to start from JFrame. JFrame is like a window, so let's call it main window, and we need this JFrame for our window. So let's import this. And also then after window, in each window, we have to have a container to hold all elements. We call this J panel. So let's call this main panel. And let's add this, import this as well. Then for this container, we need different elements. So first of all, our first element would be J label. And this would we would call top heading. So let me quickly show the interface and let's review what we are going to create here. So this is our Adobe XD screen, and as we can see that we are going to create this design. So first of all, this one, these two, they are in the same label, and we are calling them as main heading. And this one is also in a label, and this is would be an image label, which would be called captcha. And this is a button. Then this is an input field, and this is another button. So this is what we are going to recreate in our Java. So let's get back to code. So we have our top heading. Let's add this class as well. Then after top heading, we have J button, which we would call generate. This button would generate a captcha. So let's add this, import this button. Then we would also have J text field, and this we just call it input. So let's add this class as well. And then we would call another J button, and this would be called submit. So let's keep things very simple. So we have this submit button as well. And now these are the elements that we need. We also need some additional properties associated with these elements. So with each element, I would add its associated properties. So first of all, for window, we also need title. So let's call this window title. And we would just call it generate. I think capture generator would be appropriate. So this is our Windows title. Then we need to have the Windows dimension. So window width. We have window width of 600 pixels as per our Adobe XD design. Then we have our window height, which is 500 pixels as per our Adobe XD design. So these are the properties that we need for a window. And we also need an icon to be shown. So first of all, let's quickly get to uh, quickly get to the Explorer. So we would just go to the properties Explorer window. Let me share my screen with you. So as you can see, this is we are in Explorer. So we just need one thing in our we have this image. So let's copy this image and let's create a new folder. We would call it images, and let's place this image here. So we need this icon to be shown in our window. So let's get back and let's code this. So we need to know the paths. So let's call this icon path. And as we place this icon path in our images, so let me quickly show this here in the browser as well. So here we can see that in our project explorer, we have this captcha icon.png. So let's call this images slash captcha icon.png. So we need to have this path. Uh, this is these are the default properties, and for uh, our panel would have the same dimension as this window. Just think of it as a container holding all the elements of the window, so it must have the same size. So we don't need to define the size, but we need to specify the background color. So the background color, let's call it BG color, and we can assign the hexadecimal values here. So let's quickly add the hexadecimal value for our so let's quickly add the hexadecimal values for our background. So according to Adobe XD, we have this hexadecimal value. So let's add this here. So this is our dark gray background color. So in our panel, we need to have this background color. So for each of these elements, we need to have some properties. So for our top heading, uh, also we need to have some fonts assigned to certain fonts assigned for our certain purposes as well. So first of all, we need to define the font family. So this is heading font family. I think because we would be using this font family for heading as well as the buttons. So let's name it generic font family. And this is Single Sans font. We use this in Adobe XD. Then we need the font size. So heading size would be 30 pixels. So we have defined this in Adobe XD. And we need to know the extent of this element, this label. So first of all, this label would also contain an icon of the same image, capture image. And we also already know its size. So we would just call this icon size, and its icon size is 96 pixels. Then we also need uh, uh, we have defined the icon size. We also need to know the full width and height of this element, this J label. So we are able to place it properly in our window. So we have to know the heading width and height. So let's uh, prefix it th and width. We have our th width as 550 pixels and th height as 140 pixels. These are the numbers that I came up after some experimentation. So just bear with me. So we need to know the extent of our heading. We have done that. And we also need to have a top margin. So margin top of 20 pixels. When we want to show the heading, we have to have the top margin of 20 pixels. So for generate button, let's call it generate button so that it's not confusing, and submit button and input. Let's call it input field so that these are not confusing. So for our generate button, we need to have some dimensions as well. So we have button weight as 200 pixels, and we have button height as 50 pixels. Same would be for our input field. We have to have input width as same as button width. These are same, but our input height, it is 25 pixels. And we don't need to define this because we would be using these parameters. And for our buttons, we have this font size because we are not using headings, so its font size is 25. And for our input field, we also have a different font size, so its input font size and it's 20 pixels. So we have this variation in our fonts for heading. Our font family is same, but we have to have different font size. For our button, we have different font size, and for our input field, we have different font size. So also we need to add the text for to be shown on the button. So let's see GB text would be generate captcha, and we also need to have our heading text. Let's me top heading text. So for our top heading text, we need to add this. This is our top heading text. Uh, okay. So we have to give some instruction generate captcha button to generate new captcha. So we have this text for generate captcha, and for similarly for submit button we have uh, submit text as submit. So uh, submit button SP text. So let's keep the naming convention consistent. So I think this is what we need. And also there is one more property for our buttons. We have BG button, and we have to give the proper color for that. So our button background is dark purple. We defined it in Adobe XD. So let's quickly give that color code as well. So this is going to be our these are going to be pretty much the settings for our elements. We need to know because we are designing in Java, we need to know the dimensions, width, and height of each element. We need to know certain properties, the text, different. If there is an icon, then icon size. Then we have need to know the different aspects of each element in order to make sure that we create them properly and in their proper places. So before in our captcha, we need to write a initialize function. So let's write this. In this initialize function, we would initialize these elements, all the elements that we have created. So we will call this initialize here at the start of our captcha generator. So first of all, we need to initialize all these elements. So our main window would be, we would initialize it with new JFrame. Then we would also initialize main panel. And similarly for all those different labels, we initialize our top heading. And similarly for our next element, which is okay. So after heading, we have added this generate button, but we also need to add a label for captcha image, where we would place our captcha image. So for that, we also need to know its length, CI width, it would be 300 pixels, and see, I have it. It would be 80 pixels. Okay, let me check that. Let's keep the naming convention consistent. So our capture image width and height. Yes, I think we are wearing it correctly. So for now, we don't have anything else in our capture image, but we would later see how we can add different properties to it. So this is going to be our capture image, and let's add this capture. Um, let's so our capture image we haven't added. Then we have generate button, and we have to have this new J button, and then we have this text field. So we are calling it input field. This is J text field, and then we have our submit button, and this is our J button. So we have initialized these buttons here. But before we do initialization, we also need to understand some things. So our window, we have the width and height. We also need to know where should we place our window. It's X and Y coordinates, the starting coordinates, where it should derive from. So let's call this window X and window Y. So we are going to make sure that our window X window is drawn in the center of our screen. So in order to do that, we are not providing any coordinates here, but we would calculate them. So uh, in order to calculate Windows coordinates, let's quickly write a utility function which would help us in calculating the center for any dimension which we provide. So this is a very simple function which would just give the containers dimension and the elements dimension. Then it would simply divide the container dimension by 2 and subtract the element dimension divided by 2. So suppose if we are giving it width of screen width and window width, then it would just calculate the center of the screen and subtract the um, Windows center, and it would make sure that whenever we get the X coordinate, our window would be drawn at the center of the screen in X direction, and similarly for the Y direction. So where do we get this screen dimension? So it's a nice question. In Java, we have this utility class, so we can use this to call this. We have a toolkit utility class which gives us the default current screen size. So we have screen width and height. So we can easily now calculate. We have used utility function calculate center. So we can easily calculate window X, and it would be simpler, simple calculate center, and we would pass screen width and our window width. We have already defined our window width. So when we pass this, we would get the X coordinate, centralized X coordinate, and similarly for Y coordinate. So we would just have to rewrite this as height. So this would make sure that our window is drawn on the center of the screen. And now after initialization, we have to make sure that our project is set up properly. So first of all, we would give this main window some dimensions, some properties. So let's we would give the main window its title. So main window dot set title. So we already have the title for our main window, which is defined here, window title. So let's give it window title. So we have given the title to the main window, then main window dot, we have to set some properties. Let me quickly add these properties. So we are going to give window X and window Y. Okay, so in order to actually see this window, we also have to set another property. We have to it set its visible to be true, so that it appears. So this is a very simple setup. And here we already know we are just setting, giving it instruction to exit on close. If you press close, it should exit. And we are also giving it instruction not to be resizable. And we are giving it dimension, and we are setting it in the center. So we have this setup, and let's see if this works. So let me share my screen with you. This. So as we can see that we have this nice window. We have the title, and we have generated this window of the correct size, but we don't have the icon yet. So let's give it a proper icon, and let's move on from here. Okay, so in order to give it an icon, so we need to have this image icon class, and we call this icon, and we would just call image icon, and we would pass in the path, the icon path. So when we pass this, we have to first import this class. So let's import this class. And when we pass this, then we can set actually main window dot set image set icon. So we have this set icon image, and it accepts an image. So icon is an image icon. So we can just call the get image method on it. So when we do this and we run this, so we would see that we are getting a proper icon. Let me quickly share the screen. So here you can see that we are getting the correct icon. We have set this icon as well. Okay, let's get back to code. And now we need to think about our panel. So let's start working on our main panel. So basically, we have this main panel, and we need to give some properties to our main panel as well. So let me quickly add those properties. Okay, so first of all, let's rename this to main panel. So we have this main panel, and we are giving it the same window width and height, and we are setting its bounds. Set bounds method actually gives us a left and x and y position, and then the width and height of each element. So as this is within our main window, so we have to give it the full width and height from 0 and 0. Then this we are setting the background to our BG color. So we have our BG color as defined. So we also need to add this class, color class. So basically, we are giving it a background color of our this light gray. Yeah, this is BG color, and then we are setting the layout to null. We don't need any particular layout because we are setting all the bounds of elements ourselves. So we have to add this main window dot add main panel. So we have to add this in our main window. And now after this, we would add all the elements step by step, and we would add those elements in our main panel because we just need to add the main panel to the main window. It would be we would show it would be displayed here. So let's test this. So if let me share my screen with you. So we can see that we have a beautiful panel with our background color. We have set this panel to full dimension of the screen. Now we would add those elements here step by step, and we would check them. So let's get back to our code, and now let's start working on the elements. So we have all those elements that we need. We need one more thing. We need to have this. First of all, we need to have this. The positioning Y position. Let's call it Y position. So this Y position would make sure that when we are setting bounds, we have X position and Y position. So our Y position would remain consistent. So for the first part, we have our top heading. So let's add our top heading. So okay, one more thing. We need to we as we have this icon here. Uh, we have this icon path, and this icon is here. We are using it as an icon on the window, but we also need to show this icon on our heading label. So we need to resize that. We have also given the icon size that we need. Original image size is bigger than this. So we need a utility function to resize an image. So in Java, we have a very nice, we have nice functions to resize an image icon. So let me add that function here. So in this resize image, we have this image icon class and we have new dimensions. We have to also import this image class. So we are giving it the direction to smoothly scale the image, and we just get the image to be scaled and return to us. So this is a nice utility function for us. So now let's add our heading class, and let's quickly add this. So for our heading, we we need some properties. So let's quickly let me quickly set those properties, and let's explain each and everything. Okay, so here we have some elements here. So first of all, we are setting the top headings text as top heading text, which is defined here. So we are setting the text. Then we are setting the resized image label. We have already have this icon. We have imported this, and we need to resize it to icon size, so which is defined as a 96. So we give it 96 by 96 icon, and then we are setting this icon as we can set this icon in our label, and we can also define the positions of label and text here. We are defining it the text position to be a center bottom, and we are aligning the elements within this label as on center, and we are setting some properties. We are also setting the foreground color, which is the color of the text as white. And then we are setting our heading font. So what is our heading font? We have defined this heading font here. We have our font family as this single sans. Then we have font orientation as bold, and we have our heading size, which is 30 pixels. We have already defined this. So this is our first font, which we need to define here. And then we also have to have a normal font, which we would use in our buttons. So this would be very same, but we let's define it here. So we have the same font family, and we are using but the bold, but we need the font size here. So our font size is 25. We have defined this as 25. And also third one, we need input font, and we would define our input font as well here. And one thing which yeah, so in our input field, we need to have a different kind of font because this single sans, this font doesn't differentiate between capital and small. It shows all the letters as small, capital. So we need to change this. We need to use a different font for it. So it is we have to have input font family, and we are using Arial around it. This is a nice font. And for our font size, we already defined this font size at 20. So just for our input font, we would use input font family, and we would use font dot normal because we don't want font dot plain. We have this plain property here, and we have input font size, which is 20. So in our input field, we would have our appropriate font. So for this, we have set this font for the heading font. Then we also have another property which is called icon text gap. So basically, in this label, we are using an icon as well as the text. So we have to have some gap between them. So we have defined this gap as 10 pixels. I defined it right now. So we have this 10 pixel gap between those. And this is very important. We are setting the bounds. We are setting it in the bound. So for x-axis, we are setting it in the center. So it would be horizontally centered, and then we are giving it y position as margin top, and we are giving it dimensions. This y position is for the next element. So where should the next element be placed? It should be placed below this element, and we are giving it some margin. So we are giving it the height of the element, and then we are giving it the margin because in this at the start we already had this margin, so we are accommodating for that. We're giving the margin two times. We have quickly added this top heading, and then we also need to add this heading to our panel. So we would just call main panel dot add top heading. So when we do that, and let's see if our heading has been added correctly. So let me share my screen with you. So as we can see that we have added our heading correctly. We have icon and we have the text. So in a very similar way, we are going to add each element step by step. So our heading has been added. Then after heading, we have this capture image. So we would just add this capture image here. Right now, this capture image won't show anything, but we just have to add this capture image dot set icon. We don't have any icon, so we would just initialize it with an empty image icon. So we can do that. Later, we would set proper image icon here. We would generate that image and we would add that. So, and we also had to set bounds. So we would just use this. And here we would always have this window width, but we would now have capture image, CI width, and CI width and height as its dimensions. So, and we are using this Y position here. So we would just add this Y position. And in order to recalculate our Y position, we just add plus equals to this height plus margin. So it would make sure that our position for next element is calculated correctly. So we have added this capture image, and after our capture image, we need to add this button, the generate button. So we would just add this. So first, we can set the bounds. So set bounds is very straightforward. So our set bounds would be saying we have to give button width because both buttons have same properties. So we have to give button width and button height. So this is going to add our generate button here. And for next one, we can just add this button height here. And it would be our next button. But we also need to set some properties for generate button. So first of all, we need to set the text. So its text is generate button text, and we also need to uh, set background color. So set background. So for our background, we have this color dot decode BG button. We have button background color. We also need to add dot set font. We need to add set font as well. And we have this normal font for this button. And we also need to add foreground color. Set foreground, which is like the text color. So we have our foreground color as white. So we would add this. So these properties would make sure that our buttons look correctly. So this is for generate button. Then similarly, we would just add after generate button, we need to add this uh, input field. So for input field, let's quickly write its style as well. Input field. So let's quickly add the set bounds. So we have this input width and height here, input width and input height. So let's quickly rewrite this. So we have input width and we need to change this to input height. So in order to calculate our vibration correctly, we also need to accommodate for that. We need to add this input height here. So this is our, we have correctly set the bounds for input field, but we also need to set some properties. So for example, we need to set foreground color for the elements and the font. So let's quickly add this. Let's copy, paste, and paste. So for this, we have input font because we have set this, and we are going to set the color as black because this is going to be a white background element on the background will be white, and we have to use the black color. So we have done this, and now finally we are going to add our submit button. So let's quickly copy paste this code and we are going to just rename it to submit button. And let's quickly rename all of those. So we have all these properties the same. We just need to change this text to submit button. So after this, we don't forget that we need to add these elements here as well. So we need to add everything step by step. After our main heading, we have our capture image. So we add this capture image. Then we have generate button, and then we have input field, and finally we have this submit button. So let's see if all of these elements are showing correctly. So let's let me share my screen with you. So this is our interface. We can see that we have added these buttons and they have correct colors and fonts, but these buttons shapes are not correct. So we will fix that in a short while. But all the other elements are properly placed, and we cannot see right now anything here. But in this area, we would whenever we click on generate captcha, our captcha would appear here. So let's quickly try to let's quickly implement this stylized button. So in Java, we cannot simply set the border radius. We have to implement that. So we would implement another class which we would call rounded button. So we would just right click on the project and add a new class called rounded button. And we would just add this here. And in this rounded class, we need to extend it by J button. So let me quickly Uh, Basically the keyword is extends. So we need to extend it by J button. So basically this is the subclass of J button. We are implementing our own button here. And we uh, we need to have some properties here. First of all, we need to have the background color. So we would just copy paste that property here. So BG button, we need to cut from here and let's paste it here. So we need to have this property here, and we also need to have the radius of the button. So we have this 50 as the dimension of button is height of the button is 50. So here we can see that button height is 50, so the radius should be the same. And what's next? Okay, so it is giving us an error. So let's comment these lines out for now. So let's because we would be setting the background from this class now. So we have this, and then it is giving an error to add a serialized version ID. So let's add this. This is a security measure for Java, so we don't need to bother about the details. And now we have to add the constructor. So our this class would have just this constructor, and let's call it. Okay, so this is our constructor, and whenever we call this, we would have to call its parent class as well. So this is going to be our default constructor, and we need to set some properties here. So first of all, we need to set some properties such as uh, focusable to be false, and we have to content filled area, and we have to define the cursor. So okay, so in our class, if we set this to be false, then we can draw our own backgrounds, which would we would draw, and we also have to import this class cursor. So let me quickly import our class cursor. So we are just telling it that whenever we hover on this button, our cursor should change to hand cursor. So we know that it's a clickable button. So we are just setting these properties here. And then there is a very important method that we need to override, which is our paint component. So we have to override this method, and let me quickly add that method here. And in this method, first of all, let me import all the required classes. Uh, so we have to import graphics 2D, then rendering hints, and we have this BG button color. So we have to import this as well, and we have to import the color class. So if we do this correctly, then we could get our rounded buttons. I will explain what is happening here in this code. And we also have to override one more method, which is paint border. Because by default, the buttons are painted. So we don't need that. We need the borders to not be painted. And let me so this is our code. What we are doing here is we are just setting a filled round rectangle with our radius. First of all, we are giving it full dimensions of the button, and uh, we are giving it a white background. Then we would just we would do the same, and we would give it the actual button background color, and we would start from some offset, and we would subtract some number from width and height, so it would fill it inside from the inside. So with this, our button would look like that it has a white border. We're just doing that, and we are just painting it like this. And let's I think this is pretty much it for this button. So in the initialization, we just need to replace this with rounded button. So if we do that, hopefully we would be able to see we would be able to see the rounded buttons here. So let me quickly, okay, so we have also commented out this background, so we don't need to set the background now for these buttons. And rest of the properties, because it's a JButton class, these are all properties, other properties will work fine. So let's run this and let me share my screen with you. So here we can see that we have these rounded buttons. So we can see that they have nice white background and they are like capsule shaped buttons. So this is what we wanted to achieve. And if we type on here, let me quickly check if capital and small letters are differentiated. Yes. So we have this nice font here in this field. Now we have the basis. We have implemented our design in Java. So uh, for now, let's do one more thing. We need to also somehow and add the click listener to these buttons. So suppose we click on submit button, we need to see that our button has been clicked. And for our generate button, we also need to know that our generate button has been clicked. So in order to do that, we come here and in our buttons, respective buttons, we also need to have a command. So suppose we have GB. So we have this GB command and we would call this. So based on this command, our function, we will perform certain things. And similarly for our submit button, we have to register a command and we would call this submit. So these two commands we would register. And we also need to add a new class. We would call this click listener. So let's add this class. We can call it click. So we would just add this class here, and we would Java has an already defined a nice class called ActionListener. So we will just extend this implements action. So we have to implement this. Okay, let me quickly check what's wrong and let me fix that. Okay, so our click listener we implemented by action listener, and we have to import this. When we import this, it would say that we have to add unimplemented method. So we must have to add this. So when we click on this, we get this action perform method. So basically, in this action perform method, we can actually get this command from where it originated. So let me quickly implement this. First of all, we need to know that we have to have an instance of click listener in this class. So let's initialize this. Let's have this click. So we have this click listener, and in our initialize function, we also have to initialize this click listener. And for now, let me quickly add this method. We have to basically uh, track our click listener. We have to have an instance of our capture generator inside this. So let me quickly add this here because we are going to on based on the clicks we are going to call certain methods in capture generator class main class. So let me quickly add this. We have this capture generator. So and we need to specify this here. So we have to have pass this reference in whenever we are initializing the click listener. And For our buttons, we have to, first of all, we have to set the command. So there is an set action command. So we have this generate button command here. We also have to register this. So set let me quickly see how we register this button. Uh, okay, so we have this method called add action listener. So we have to pass this click listener here. Let me quickly add this. So we have this class of click listener. This object, we have to pass this as our handler for the clicks. So let's quickly add this here, and let's rename this, and this is our SD command. So for now, we are just going to display what command we are getting. We are not going to make this very functional yet. We just need to know. So we have this method. We just need to show. We have this method called show message dialog. This is Java's default message dialog. So we would just show what command was, which button was clicked. We are just going to show that. So we have this method. We are getting this argument, and we can get action command, whichever command was passed, and we can just certain command is called. So for now, we would just test if our buttons are working. So let me quickly run this, and let's share our screen. We are here. So if we click on this button, then we can see that uh, we are getting a message dialog box. Let me show that we share that. So we are getting our command. So when we click on this, we are getting this dialog box. So we would just click. Let's get back to our previous screen. And when we click on submit button, then this new command would be this new command will be displayed. So let me show that. So this is the message dialog box that would appear. So uh, let's uh, let's get back to code. So basically, this is it for this part. Setting up UI in Java is not very simple. It requires a lot of steps. So we have been successfully able to add our GUI. Then we have implemented rounded buttons, which we wanted to show, and we also implement the basis of our click handler. So in the next part, we would make these things functional. We would generate capture text, and we would also try to implement the capture image generator. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned, and in the next part, we would continue from here on. Thank you so much.